So stem stitch is a versatile stitch, it makes outlines nicely. Right-handers will usually work this from left to right, left-handers will usually work from right to left. So for right-handers, take the thread in a loop above the stitching line and take a small stitch forwards along the stitching line, taking the thread back down and then bringing the needle back up about 3/4 of the way back towards your starting point. Gently pull the thread through and you've made one stitch. Now keep the thread above the stitching line again, take the needle back down and then bring the thread back up about 3/4 of the way towards the last stitch you made. So there's a tiny gap between the two. Gently pull that through, and so you keep on. Small stitch forwards and then about 3/4 of the way back to the last stitch you made. Each time make sure you keep the thread above the work, and this stitch will go round corners very nicely. So for left-handers, keep the thread below the stitching line each time you make a new stitch. Take a small stitch forwards along the stitching line and then back about 3/4 of the way towards where you started. Gently pull the thread through. Again, keep the thread below the stitching line, a stitch forwards and then about 3/4 of the way back towards the last stitch you made. Bring the thread back up through. And so you keep going. A small stitch forwards and then about 3/4 of the way back towards the last stitch you made. When you finish, you make the last stitch, keep the thread below the stitching line and take the thread down to the back of the work. Same for the right hand.